one job, one! And because you hesitated, we almost lost him!
I followed protocol, Dr. Dean. The vitals crashed before I...
Protocol doesn't save lives when you freeze. You look me in the eye and tell me you were ready for that.
I'm telling you, I did everything.
Who authorized you to touch that chart? The voice cut through the room, sharp and dripping with contempt. Heads turned. Every eye followed the young doctor as he glared across the ward, at her. Maya froze, pen still in hand. The tension was instant, electric. "She's just a nurse," he scoffed, loud enough for everyone to hear. A few gasps, a few awkward glances, but Maya said nothing. Her silence wasn't weakness. It was power waiting to be revealed. Because in less than 10 minutes, he would learn exactly who she was, the chief of surgery. Comment your city below if this pulled you in. It was another early morning at St. Matthew's Medical Center, the kind of place that never really slept. The air smelled faintly of coffee and antiseptic, the distant hum of machines blending with hurried footsteps. Dr. Maya Williams adjusted her badge and exhaled, ready to start another long shift. To most, she was simply part of the bustling hospital rhythm, moving with quiet confidence through the chaos. But beneath that calm exterior was a woman who had fought for every ounce of respect she'd earned in her career. Born and raised in Atlanta, Maya had always been drawn to healing. Her mother used to say she had doctor's hands, steady, precise, and kind. Those hands had carried her through sleepless nights in medical school, through the endless doubt of those who didn't believe a black woman could lead in surgery. Now, after years of relentless work, she had earned the title few reached, Chief of Surgery. Yet she never flaunted it. She preferred to observe, to understand people before revealing who she really was. That morning, she wore her usual scrubs, no coat, no nameplate declaring her rank. She moved through the ward, checking on patients, offering a reassuring word here, a steadying touch there. Her presence was quiet but powerful, like calm beneath a storm. The staff respected her, most of them did. But every now and then, someone new would walk in and see only what they wanted to see. As she prepared for the day's rounds, a new doctor joined the team, young, ambitious, and far too sure of himself. He scanned the room, his gaze lingering on Maya a moment too long before dismissing her entirely. The faint smirk that followed was something she'd seen before, a silent judgment dressed as confidence. She felt it in her gut. That subtle shift in the air before a storm breaks. Something told her this day, of all days, would test more than her patience. It would reveal who truly deserved to wear the white coat. The new doctor's name was Ethan Clark. Fresh from a prestigious residency program, he carried himself like the hospital owed him something. His voice echoed down the corridor, confident and clipped, the kind that demanded attention even when it wasn't deserved. To him, every interaction was a performance, and everyone else, an audience. When he first noticed Maya reviewing patient charts, he assumed she was a nurse on duty. Her quiet authority didn't register with him. What did was her calm tone and composed demeanor, things he mistook for subservience. "Make sure the patient in 302 is prepped for the consult," he said sharply, not even looking up from his tablet. Maya nodded, choosing not to correct him. She'd learned long ago that respect earned through patience lasted longer than respect demanded through anger. But it didn't stop there. Throughout the morning, Ethan's arrogance grew louder. He barked orders, interrupted nurses, and threw dismissive glances at anyone who didn't fit his narrow view of professionalism. When Maya offered gentle suggestions on treatment plans, he brushed her off. "Thanks, but I'll handle this," he said curtly, tone dripping with superiority. The others exchanged uneasy glances. They knew who she was. They also knew how badly this was going to end. During a case discussion in the conference room, Ethan made his biggest mistake yet. As the staff gathered, he stood at the head of the table, presenting a complex surgical plan with misplaced confidence. Maya listened quietly, her expression unreadable. When he finished, she calmly pointed out a few errors. Nothing harsh, just precise medical corrections. But to Ethan, it was a challenge. He smirked. "With all due respect," he began, "I think I'll take advice from surgeons, not nurses." The words hung in the air like a slap. Silence fell. Even the clock seemed to stop ticking. Some of the younger staff looked away, too uncomfortable to meet Maya's eyes. Others stared at Ethan, disbelief etched on their faces. Maya didn't flinch. She simply met his gaze, steady and unshaken. Her voice was soft, measured. "Of course," she said, standing up. "I'm sure you will." Then she turned and walked out, her steps calm, deliberate. But inside a storm raged, not of anger, but of weary understanding. She had faced this before. Different faces, same arrogance. The rest of the team whispered after she left, their voices low and uneasy. One of the senior nurses leaned toward Ethan. "You really don't know who that was, do you?" she murmured. Ethan frowned, confused. "Just another nurse," he muttered, dismissing it again. But the day wasn't over. And neither was Maya's lesson. Minutes later, a message came through the intercom, urgent, summoning the chief of surgery to the main operating room. Ethan looked up, irritation flashing across his face. "Guess the chief's about to save the day," he joked, unaware that the day's most significant revelation was about to unfold, one that would turn his arrogance into humiliation and his pride into silence. The operating room was tense, filled with the sharp scent of disinfectant and the buzz of monitors. A patient had been rushed in, a critical trauma case requiring immediate surgery. The staff gathered quickly, everyone moving with purpose. Ethan was already there, gloves on, ready to prove himself. The door swung open. The room fell silent. Dr. Maya Williams stepped in, her surgical coat crisp, her badge glinting under the harsh lights. The gold letters caught everyone's eyes. Chief of Surgery. Ethan froze, the color draining from his face as realization struck like a punch to the chest. Without a word, Maya took her place at the head of the table. Her movements were calm, controlled, utterly professional. She began issuing precise instructions, her tone firm but steady. The team responded instantly, falling into rhythm with her leadership. The arrogance that had once filled the room dissolved into focus and respect. Ethan stood frozen, shame burning through him as the truth unfolded before his eyes. Every nurse, every resident, everyone he had dismissed, now looked to Maya for direction. She didn't glance at him, not once. Her focus remained on the patient, on the work, on saving a life. When the surgery ended successfully, the room exhaled in relief. Only then did Maya turn, her gaze meeting Ethan's for a brief, heavy moment. "I believe we all learned something today," she said quietly before walking out. Ethan couldn't move. His pride had been cut open, and what spilled out was humility. "Dear audience, where are you watching from? Drop your city name in the comments." When the doors of the operating room closed behind her, Maya didn't feel triumphant, just quietly resolved. Moments like these weren't victories. They were reminders of the long road still ahead. She'd spent years proving herself in a system that often saw her skin color before her credentials. Every success, every calm reaction was built on years of learning when to fight and when to let her work speak louder than words. Word of what had happened spread through the hospital faster than any memo. The young nurses whispered it with pride. The older ones nodded knowingly. Respect, once assumed to be hers by title, was now reinforced by the truth everyone had witnessed. Even Ethan, red-faced and silent, began to see the world beyond his narrow lens. A few days later, he knocked on her office door. He didn't have to say much, just a quiet apology, sincere and unguarded. Maya accepted it with a nod. "Learn from it," she said. "That's how you make it mean something." And then she returned to her work. Because she always did. For the staff, that day became a quiet legend, a story retold to new hires about humility, bias, and leadership that doesn't need to shout to be heard. For Maya, it was just another chapter in a life built on grace under pressure. But for the viewers watching, the question lingers. How many brilliant minds are dismissed before they're seen for who they truly are? Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more powerful stories that open eyes and hearts.